evening, newbies, and welcome to Nonprofits Empowering Worlds. Today we are joined by Asadah Kirkland, who is the founder of the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. I am so excited for you to meet her today. But before we bring her to the stage, I would like for you to hear a word from our broadcast network called the Female Solutions. Because without the Female Solutions, we would not be able to give you this podcast this evening.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Me and Asadah be jamming to this song.
Get it.
How are you doing, Asadah?
Hi. Thank you for having me today. Thank you for having me here today.
I'm so excited,
That's right.
Asadah. Oh, you know what?
What you want, baby doll? What you want to do?
Music
What you
down a
want
little
to do?
bit. I know we like to party to this music a lot.
I know, honey. We can keep it going all night. Keep it going.
Let's see. Okay, there we go. So, Asadah, I'm so excited to have you here today. When I was preparing for this interview, I was thinking this was going to be super easy because you've done so much, and it will be easy for me to find, photos and videos and things related to a lot of the activities that you have done.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, this is going to be a breeze. And I know you personally, but
Right.
I actually found it to be very difficult. And the reason being, you have done so much. And I had forgotten probably more things than I remembered about what you have done.
Okay.
So, guys, let me tell you a little bit about Asadah. I've known Asadah for a long time. She doesn't even remember when we first met. We've had several iterations of our relationship throughout the course of the last 30 years.
Wow.
When I first met Asadah, I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And I was pregnant. I was 19 years old and I was pregnant with my first child. That's how I know it was 30 years ago, because my first son is 30 years old now. So
Wow.
when I first met Asadah, I was 19 years old. I was pregnant, and the father of my children was friends with her partner at the time, and they did music together. So
Okay.
I found myself over her house, their house, her and her partner, because they were doing music together. So I was hanging out, she was hanging out, and they were in the studio. But the reason why this stands out in my mind so much is because you, Asadah, you and your partner was like the first couple whose house I had went over that was very Afrocentric, right?
Oh,
So you had locks. That's number one. I had just started my locks. You had locks. You all were a little bit older than us.
Okay.
And those years, like right now, I feel like you're my peer, right? But
Yeah.
back then, we may be about 5 or 6 years apart. You had just graduated from Northwestern, I believe. So
Okay.
there was a little bit of a gap. But when you're 19 and somebody's 25 or 26,
Sure.
that those years seem a lot larger. That gap seems a lot larger,
Yeah.
So anyway, I was really impressed by you guys because this was the first, it was like the energy was there. You all were like the first couple that I knew that was like very Afrocentric. You had djembe laying around, you had African artifacts. I think you had already been to Africa. So you were telling me
not yet, but I was not as well.
Yeah. and you were dressed, very Afrocentric. So I just really was impressed. I felt like, I don't know, did you see Love Jones? Have you ever seen Love Jones?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you remember the scene where the friends got together and they were banging on the djembe and talking and having like intellectual conversations. That was the vibe, right?
Okay.
And so I was really impressed, and it really stood out because, in my mind, you all were like the type of couple that I wanted me and my mate to be,
Nice.
But then what really stands out even more than that was the next morning, because I ended up spending it. And the next morning, because I was pregnant, you were like, okay, mama, we got to get some food in your stomach. And you made me some oatmeal. And you all like the nutrition vibe back then and sharing knowledge, so I was just like soaking it all up, and you made me some oatmeal, and that was like the best oatmeal I ever had. You had like nuts in it and some
fruit,
some berries
some fruits
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, some fruits, some nuts and berries. And so the experience was just really, really cool,
Nice. Okay.
So I remember that. And I didn't see Asadah until like years later, because I think we came back in contact around, that was 1994.
Yeah, I was about to say 94 because I left Northwestern in 93. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was 94 when I spent that time at your apartment. Okay. And then we didn't come into contact again later until like 2014 or 2015. And you didn't have, I think you kind of barely remembered me, but I knew exactly who you were, and your energy has never changed. It's always been the same. And so I just bring that up to say this. You never really know, like Asadah was just being Asadah, but you never know how you're impacting people,
Wow.
And so I always remember that experience. And I was inspired by that one night that I spent at you all's apartment. We had the music going too, and that was inspiring. Your partner, he was a really dope musician, and so the vibe was just there, and I hadn't really had that. That was the first time I was ever in that type of company.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up because I'm like, you're just being you. And a lot of the things that you have done that we're going to talk about, we're going to get into it. I'm not going to dominate the conversation, but I know because I've known you so long, and I know that what you do is from the heart and is genuine.
Yeah,
and it's really who you are. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want to really start off, kind of set that stage to let people know.
Thank you.
I'm
legit.
She's legit. Exactly.
I'm legit.
She's always been like this. This is her.
Right.
100%,
Cool. I had somebody at Northwestern tell me one time he thought this was a fad, the way that I was, because I was Afrocentric at Northwestern as well. And years later, he was like, I really thought that was a fad while we were in school. And I was looking at him like, boy, stop playing.
No, and everybody got likes it now, but back then,
right?
That was a spiritual thing, and like you had to be very bold and confident to do that. And I was just starting mine, and you already had them, and I was like, yeah, this is my people. I finally found my people. That's kind of like how I felt.
Nice.
So the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. I want to just ask you, for those who don't know, I'm going to let you explain, give us a little synopsis of what is the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. It's been around for a while. Mm-hmm. And I just want to hear from you, what is it about? What is the Soulful Chicago Book Fair? What is it? What is it about? What happens there? Give us a little bit of a history of that.
Sure. So here's the deal, y'all. I'm from New York. You can hear the little dirty Apple accent. New York. And in New York, there's the Harlem Book Fair. And so I experienced that. That was like in the late 90s, whatever. And in Chicago, I moved back to Chicago after graduating Northwestern in the mid 90s, early 90s. I moved back here in 2014 and kind of started talking to some friends about that world of a book fair. And I'm like, why doesn't that exist here in Chicago? Because you got Lorraine Hansberry, you got Gwendolyn Brooks, Richard Wright, like they're just some real historic Black writers that are from the city. And instead of, in Scientology, we say, L. Ron Hubbard said, if you see a problem, look at what you didn't do and know why it's a problem, right? So if a book fair don't exist, what you gonna do? My thing is, you do it. Boo. Don't be talking about why is not one here. So it came out of that needing or wanting to see a place for literary folks to prosper. I'm an author myself. My first book came out in 2009. My second book came out in maybe 2019, 2017, something like that. And my last book came out last year. Or we'll get into those titles over time or whatever. But the point is, I knew as an author that there needed to be a place where we could shine. And usually other arts are cared for. Dancing, fine art, painting, singing, there are venues for those things to thrive. But seldom is there a venue where we can thrive as writers. And so my thing was, being from New York, one of the things that we do is showtime at the Apollo, Broadway, but Chicago's not like that. People just write and they're excellent at writing. But the New Yorker in me, no, we need to put this on stage, Jarlene. And so my thing was, we're going to have this book fair, but we're going to have a book fair where, no, not a block party, because I heard the alderman was telling one of the elders in the community, why does she want so much space? Because I had to put the permit in with the alders. I had like 7 blocks. I need 7 blocks for this, right? So they were like, why she need so much space? It's just tables and chairs and books. But the elder told him, I don't think you know Asadah. I don't think you understand what the deal is. So it was more than just a block party. No, we negotiated down to 4 blocks long, and we had a block per genre, 1 block for fiction writers, 1 block for nonfiction writers, 1 block for children's writers. And we had 2 stages, 1 big stage, Grammy level stage, where we had Eric Roberson so far, and Navasha Dea from Fertile Ground and all kind of great neo soul folks, and a smaller stage where people from the community can come and do their poetry and whatever. So my thing was, this is going to be a big literary celebration. You see us in that picture. What? Opening every book fair, we open with a procession with elders on a float, right? Usually in the literary industry, drummers, the whole 9. This is this particular year right here is called Women Write and Reign. So it was like all the female writers, like, let's get it. Let's do the procession. So yeah, we just make it dope. Like, we make it big. Like, stop playing. People try to make like, it's a lot of myths out there. People say, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book, as if we don't read. And I'm like, well, somebody lying, because I done serviced over 3,000 authors. So if we ain't reading, we sure are writing. So something ain't right. So, if you look at our history as a people, the people who invented writing and hieroglyphs, and stop it. Stop talking about we don't read. And so the book fair is designed not only to give stage to writers, but also my thing is, look, we're going to debunk the myths. And who made anti-literacy laws? There used to be laws made so we wouldn't read, where they would cut out our tongues, cut out our eyes. And this is to counter all of that and make reading a part of our general everyday life of living. You understand, our affluence,
Yes.
telling our own stories for our own benefit. We don't care what people say about us. We control our narrative. So that's what the book fairs was, really to give stage to a bunch of Black folks telling their stories and, like I said, giving our narrative of our experiences.
Now, in this photo, this is an example of a booth, right? So each author has their own space.
Yep.
What happens at this booth? What
Yeah.
What are the interactions like?
Sure. This was this past year, this past summer. It was so hot that day. Lord have mercy of all of life and Jesus, everybody, Buddha, Allah, everybody was so, oh God, it was so hot. But it was so dope because we had tents that covered all the vendors and all the public. So if it was 3 blocks, we had a tent per block that covered everybody, right? And so this was an image where we had Mama Edie, the storyteller, with her shakerade. She was in the middle of the whole jam in their section. I think she was in the children's section, and they were doing the shakerade. They were singing. People have their booths because they're selling their books, right? And so, but everybody was so involved and they loved the vibe. And, that's kind of what the book fair is. It's impromptu awesomeness. Like, it's just the energy you see in our writings comes out in our delivery. And so that was a picture of this past year's book fair in the children's section, where there was some real interaction and music going on and call and response and all of that from Mama Edie as a storyteller.
So it's called the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, but are all the authors from Chicago? Is it limited to just Chicago authors?
It's not only, it ain't limited to nothing, really, to be honest. It is designed so that we have a stage as a people, right? But we've had white authors, we've had Chinese authors. My man Taquan Amaru flew in at least 3 times already from Japan to be in our book fair. Wow. He actually got exposure to the book fair because we put the book fair in the metaverse while we were on lockdown as a people, right? So I'm like, I was enjoying 2020. I was like, I need a rest. Oh God, thank you. And then when 2021 came and I still wanted to rest, God was like, what you think you doing? Like, what? You better find a way to do this book fair. So even we couldn't do it outside still. We still on lockdown. So I was able to put the book fair in the metaverse. So it was like a society in the computer. And because it was in the computer, people from all over the world could take a part. And that's how we got Taquan from Japan. And people fly in. I heard, rumor has it that in New York, somebody said, you got to go to Chicago's book fair. That jam is good. I was like, oh my God, they talk about our book fair. So, and I think what's different about it is that, so no shade on no other book fairs, but you're not going to come and it's 2 blocks of authors and 1 block of just general merchandise, right? Incense and what have you, because my people mentally, we going to the general merchandise block and we going to buy up a bunch of stuff, pocketbooks and purses, whatever. And then we're going to come back to the books and go, oh, I don't have any money left. And so to be in my book fair, you have to be an author. There is no selling of nothing else. You have to be a writer or a community organization or something like that, so that people who come, they know they're coming and getting involved. And so look at that dope picture. That was us in the metaverse. Metaverse was for real. Like you was able to come, have your locks, get dressed. I was skinnier there though. Oh, look at my waist. Oh, baby. But anyway, when you went into our expo hall, you saw the author's PowerPoint presentation or their video about their book, and you were able to click on the little square of the book and buy the book. So it was like next level. It was the bomb. So yeah, that's a little picture from our Metaverse Days. That was in 2022. We even had our commercial for the Metaverse done by MC Light. That was the bomb. And she was like, Soulful Chicago Book Fair. I was like, oh, MC Light, work it,
How did you get MC Light? How did you hook that up?
So one of my MC Light's homegirl, right, for lack of a better term, I went to go see MC Light at the University of Chicago. And because I heard about, is she dabbling in some Scientology? I'm a Scientologist, so I went to go see. And when I came out from the speaking engagement, and came out to the main arena, like outside where they were selling her books. Girl, me and the sister selling her books screamed because we went to Northwestern together. That's Lynn Richardson. She's like a financial guru, right? So that just kind of brought me in cahoots with MC Light because they're like besties, right? For lack of a better word. But they've written books together. You see them a lot of times at events together. They have a scholarship they do together. So having Lynn in my corner meant having MC Light in my corner, and they actually both came to that Women Write and Reign event and spoke on the stage, sold their books and all of that. So that was how we got there.
So you've been doing the Soulful Chicago Book Fair since 2021, am I correct?
No. We've been doing the Soulful Chicago Book Fair since 2016.
Oh, wow.
You heard me?
That's
so yeah,
right,
2016.
I was in San Antonio when you did the first one.
Yeah, so 2016. And then it was every year since then. But when lockdown came in 2020, that's when we went to metaverse mode, like in 2022. And so for 6 months, we had a book fair for 6 months in 2022. And then we came back with a live book fair in 2023. Now, you look like you're frozen to me. Are you?
Wow. So we're talking now, and we're going to give you a little snippet of what to expect when you attend the Soulful Chicago Book Fair.
Mm-hmm. That was a snippet for sure.
if it will ever come up, hold on.
Soulful Chicago Book Fairs are the most exciting Black book fairs on the planet. Born in July of 2016, Soulful Chicago Book Fairs have both increased the literary marketplace for Black writers and given lovers of Black literature places to find books about the Black experience the world over. The main summer book fair stretches 4 city blocks on 61st Street between Cottage Grove and King Drive. Each block is characterized by its own genre, donning the works of fiction authors, nonfiction authors, and children's authors. The day begins with a procession of elders atop a float, demonstrating the book fair's honoring of community elders. The entertainment of the Soulful Chicago Book Fair has been second to none. Audiences travel to its Grammy-level stage, which has featured musical artists such as Eric Roberson, King, and many of Chicago's multicultural talents. The book fair's community stage sits equidistant from either end and showcases puppet shows, open mic sessions, and author talks for festival goers to enjoy.
That bought homes or provide an economic foundation.
Aspiring authors have enjoyed the Soulful Chicago Book Fair's lineup of helpful workshops on publishing, writing for children,
and legalities of the publishing industry and more. From its exhibitors to its entertainment, its workshops, to its overall power, Soulful Chicago Book Fairs will continue to breathe literary life and prosperity into the South Side of Chicago for decades to come.
Yay! Wow. Hercules.
Yes. So if you have not attended, you need to attend. It's more than just authors presenting their books. You have discussions, you have entertainment, you have children's activities, and it's on the South Side of Chicago, Black location. And I don't know that these typically have these type of, you need to check it out. Chicago folks, we come out and we show out when it comes to house music, and we support that like no end. But I want to see the same turnout at the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, because our children definitely need it. I think this was a genius idea. And and so many, I for one did not know that we had so many Black authors in the city of Chicago, and just being there and talking to the authors and seeing what type of things they're writing about I learned so much. And there's children's books, so it's just an experience like no other.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yes. So talk to me. There you have the Soulful Chicago Book Fair, but it's actually part of a larger initiative, correct? So I'm going to
it's become
introduce the Soulful Book Fair Foundation is actually the overarching organization.
Sure.
Talk to me a little bit about the Soulful Book Fair Foundation.
So over the years, what happens is the evolution of a whole bunch of everything literary. And so there became a need to kind of package everything that we became. And thus we created the Soulful Book Fair Foundation, which is our 501c3 organization that helps to do a few things. We work on the literary marketplace. We want to enhance that at all times. Then we have working on training authors. A person may have an idea, but they need training, learning how to promote and do the business side of being a new writer, right? And then we work on archiving. We have we got a YouTube channel full of a variety of fabulousness of everything that we do regarding Black literary life. And then we got children's writers, literary marketplace, archiving and training authors. So all of those things, right? But also, these things cost money. So to get grants and what have you, we need a not-for-profit a lot of times. So we just needed it in place, more than just a book fair where people come and sell books. And so we do a variety of different activities. We've had over 100 different activities for Black writers, including the book fairs, having poetry events, all kinds of things. And so the Soulful Book Fair Foundation, now we're just restructuring our board, bringing new board members on ship, and making it so that we're looking at, well, what's our strategic plan going forward? How are we going to partner with other organizations? So, it's just become more than just having tables and chairs with books selling on the street, but a whole bunch of other activities. We actually have helped so many authors go from idea to actual book. It don't even make no sense, just taking it and to physically see a book that came from, thoughts, right? And so we have the connections with the editors and the formatters, getting your ISBN number and all of that. People say, do you have a publishing company? I'll be like, nope, because I don't feel like doing that. Nope, I'm not doing it. So anyway, I'd rather farm out the responsibilities to people who do it. But yeah, so the Soulful Book Fair Foundation came about because we got things to do, and we've gotten grants from DCASE here in Chicago. That's the Department of Cultural and Special Affairs here in Chicago. We've gotten grants from them. We gotten a grant from the Woodlawn Advisory Council, all kind of stuff. So that's the thing, good thing. And we're being taken seriously on a lot of different levels now. We're even downtown Chicago. We're being publicized at the Cultural Center, the Soulful Book Fair Foundation. We have a display that'll be up for a year. It started in June, it'll end in June. So you can go downtown, go to Washington, go to the Cultural Center, and you'll see the Soulful Book Fair Foundation. There she is. Boo, 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 boo. Yep, right there. Soulful Book Fair Foundation, right there in the mix. Yep, downtown for people to read about and see. And we did a great activity there also for this called, and then I know we're going to commercial soon, so I'll be quiet. But this is an event that we did at the Cultural Center called Phone Book. And the thing was, you can write a book because you text every day. So you have content in your text. Go ahead, use your text, and let's see what kind of book you can write. And so we have blank books for there to write poetry, short stories, and all of that. So yay, we're doing all kind of little. This
little book was. I didn't know that when I was looking through these photos. So
yes.
So the prompt was for people to go through their text messages and write a book based off of that.
Yep, phone book. So your book content is right in your phone. So they took the blank books and they looked at their text, and then they started to write either poems or short stories or whatever came from the context that they got out of their text. Yep. And so those are people holding their books.
What I like about what I'm looking at is all of the different ethnicities that attended this workshop and all of the different generations. You have representation from every generation and every single ethnicity, all walks of life.
Exactly. It was so good. And you could see people were illustrating, doing poetry. People don't have a lot of outlets in life to help them be creative. And so this is a way to get those literary juices flowing. And like I said, that's a workshop that we do called Phone Book in our workshops. Yep.
Okay. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I am going to back up a little bit because I want to talk a little bit more about your structure, because I think some other nonprofits can probably benefit from your structure. So we're going to go back a little bit to the foundation, but I want you guys to pay attention to this commercial because there is a Soulful Chicago Book Fair coming up in February, right? The Soulful Black History Book Fair. And so check it out, guys.
It's okay. We love all them book fairs. What you want to show? The Black History Book Fair?
Yeah.
Soulful Chicago. Soulful Chicago Book Fair.
All right. So yeah, this will be our second Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair that we're doing in February. We did one before, and if you want to show that video later, we can, but it basically talks about the necessity of doing a Black History Book Fair. But it just echoes what I've basically said about us telling our own stories and giving our own narratives, right? So like I said, February 15th, you can see it at the bottom of the screen. Definitely come on out. But the bigger thing too is if you're an author, we still got some spaces for you. So if you're an author, you just go right to our website, soulfulchicagobookfair.com. You see that at the bottom, and you'll see author submission. Go ahead and submit your book and knock it out. Have a ball.
All right. Thank you for that, Asadah.
Sure.
So let's go back a little bit to the pillars of the Soulful Book Foundation. Okay, so
Sure.
This is your overarching organization. You have 4 pillars, and I think that this is very necessary when it comes to having a nonprofit, that you have a focus. And I like this image here because it's a visual to keep you as an organization focused.
Sure.
You're focused on these 4 pillars, and everything that you do relates to one of those 4 pillars, whether it be so one of the pillars is the marketplace, right? The literary marketplace. So that's your the fair that you do every year, or sometimes twice a year, right?
Yeah.
And then
even 3 times.
It could be 3 times because you're doing, you have the annual fair, but you have these mini fairs.
Yeah, we have like the holiday book fair, and then we've had the Black History,
Kwanzaa fair,
children's, all of that.
Yeah. So that, and then you have the workshops you do for the youth, which falls under the youth writers.
Yep.
And then you have the trainings you do for the authors.
Yep. So basically, here's the deal. I'm sorry, go ahead, because I could just get it in. I could just,
Go ahead. No, explain.
The basic thing was we looked at the evolution of everything that was going on.
Right.
It wasn't like, let's just sit down and make 4 pillars. It really was like, how do you compartmentalize everything that's already happening, right? And so the book fair is good. That was happening. So what are we doing with that? We are boosting the literary marketplace, giving Black writers a place to actually sell their books. That can be a rarity these days. You can't even find a Black book in the Black community. Where you going to go to buy a book, right? So to create these venues where we do that. Then this working with youth writers. We have something called the Samuel D. Black Essay Contest for young people. And Samuel D. Black was a historian. He did books on the Great Migration. But basically, young people would have to go and find their oldest living relative, interview that oldest living relative, and then write about what they found out in terms of that person's migration to Chicago, what have you. And so just having that essay contest and that writing and getting young people to come and then orate to the book fair, that was a thing, right? And so that's handling sort of that, the young youth and writing. We've even had youth poets come and do their poetry, right? So that's just a thing. We like to do intergenerational work. So there's that. Then there's the archiving. If you go to our YouTube channel, Soulful Chicago Book Fair, man, you're going to see all kind of commercials by authors and all kind of live shows. We have a podcast that we do every Tuesday morning, part of the Female Solution, called Gathering of the Griots. And what we do is we interview all of the authors that are part of the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. So a little bit more of the training and interviewing of authors. We even have events called like Black Authors Unite, where we have activities and we have the different genres competing. And so they're practicing the working together, and public speaking is a thing. When you're an author, you need to be able to do that. So all of these different tenets, we compartmentalized into 4 pillars, and our not-for-profit focuses on those activities and are being acknowledged by even, like I said, DCASE here in Chicago, grant sources. We're starting to be a force to be reckoned with. Even the alderman in the 20th Ward here in Chicago said that the book fair is Woodlawn's premier summer festival. That's the neighborhood that we do the book fair in. So I'm just saying we're felt as a literary force in the community. And in 2018, I happened to be in the main library downtown, and someone said, "Are you Asadah?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I feel like Beyonce." I'm like, "What?" And she was like, "You do the book fair, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." They had me redo the book fair inside of the main library downtown. We were given like 4,000 square feet of space, and we were able to recreate the book fair. I mean, it was top notch, classy, glass encased artifacts that described our different books, had 5-foot collages hanging from the ceiling that they made of all of our different images from our book fairs. And it was just class act. So we did a Black literary festival inside the Chicago Public Libraries for the whole month of February 2018. So I love that we're being recognized as a resource for local Black writers, but just Black writers in general. What the library said was, we have the facility, but we don't have the writers. And they knew they didn't have the local writers to contribute to an event, but they knew we did. So that was a big thing for me, for them to see that value.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you deserve it.
Yeah.
I do want to pull up this image as well. This is both of your logos.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciate how you, again, your structure is so transparent and clear, as the Book Fair Foundation being kind of that overarching organization. Mm-hmm. And then the Chicago Book Fair being one of the activities that you do. And I love how, and I didn't even realize this until I was looking through your logos, and I was piecing them together, and I said, wait a minute, this actually makes a pillar, so if these could actually attach to one another and create a pillar. So it's very symbolic. Yeah. Did you? Was that?
No, you're getting deep on me. You're getting visually deep on me, girl.
So I again, just for other people that maybe are starting nonprofits, I think that this is a great example of being clear on what it is that you're trying to do, having those pillars or that value system that your organization operates from. And it keeps you focused. It keeps you not being distracted, chasing the money and just doing random activities that don't really align to one another, because that's what a lot of organizations fall into, that trap of not really being clear on what their mission is, not really being clear on what their value system is, clear on what activities they will and will not do and why they're doing what they do. So I love that you guys have worked that out, and you have these visuals that are symbolic of that you can use to remind yourself of what it is that you're trying to do, and it's clear to other people as well. So this is great. This is just great work. It's a great logo. It's it makes sense.
Thank you. I think branding is very important, and I don't know. Companies do a lot of different things. Sometimes I see logos and I'll be like, what is that again? I'm like, what are you talking about? And it's not that clear. What I love about this particular logo, back in 19, I was going to open a literary cafe in New York. And I had this logo created. My man, Joseph Zaboy, had drawn the first demo for me. I was going to open a literary cafe in New York called the Read My Mind Literary Cafe. And this logo, it was of a body with the celestial stars inside of it, sitting on top of a book. And that whole Read My Mind, which is why they're kind of touching their face. But that platter used to be a platter of food when I was going to open a literary cafe. And when I got the idea of the book fair, I said, we're going to change the platter of food to the city of Chicago. Yay! So thus came the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. 'Cause I was trying to figure out what kind of logo am I going to use. And when I saw that in my paperwork, I said, we're going to use that logo. And so we got it digitized and sort of got the concept handle. But I literally have T-shirts that say Read My Mind Literary Cafe with that logo, with the stars, with the plate of food. People were buying those shirts for like $20 a piece. They were buying bookmarks of the Literary Cafe for like $10 a piece. All of this, it wasn't even open yet, but that's the type of support we got. So this is sort of a, this whole literary piece. For some reason, I'm on this mission. I did not grow up thinking I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to sell books. I didn't think about all that. But my journey, even as a teenager, I was trained to be a leader, and we had to read books. I was a teenager reading Frantz Fanon, Black Skin, White Mass, Lerone Bennett's They Came Before Her, Before the Mayflower. I was reading Why We Can't Wait by Martin Luther King. I was reading Autobiography of Malcolm X. So there was just this emphasis on reading and getting data from books. And so I guess I'd evolved into, I used to manage Afrocentric Bookstore downtown Chicago right after I graduated from Northwestern. That was like in 93, 94. And just this world of being in books, Creator put me here. So here I am, creating more realities. I even talked today with one of my colleagues in the UK about, I think I want to be responsible for getting authors to sell their books in cryptocurrency, because it will realign the power they have. Right now, we don't have a lot of power. The way our books are sold through Amazon, and so much is taken away from us. But if we can sell our books in cryptocurrency, we will regain power over the money that we get for our books. So I'm working on that, cryptifying our author experience. I'm coming with it. So yeah, soon come.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you mentioned cryptocurrency, because you do have a book about cryptocurrency, and you have some other books as well. I'm going to pull those up now. I want you to talk about, because, guys, she's an author as well, and she has written 3 books. So I want you to, we're going to go through each of these books one by one. And I want you to talk to us about why you wrote the book, what is the message of the book. And the first one, if I am correct, was Beating Black Kids.
Yeah, right? Beating Black Kids.
So
that was definitely my first book.
So talk to us about Beating Black Kids. What inspired you to write this book? What is the book about?
Sure. So quickly, Beating Black Kids, I wrote not because I wanted to just write a book. I had a stroke back in 2009, and I had to be watched by a friend who watched over me and my daughter when I got out the hospital. And my daughter was upset at the time, I guess, because mommy was horizontal, couldn't contribute to her life. She was like 5 years old. Anyway, she ripped up some money in my house, and the lady was like telling me, you need to beat her. Like, I need to spank her to show her not to do that, right? Because I'm not working, so I need my money. But I looked at her like, what? Like, I was really perplexed, because it never occurred to me to hit my daughter, ever, ever, never. I'm her biggest cheerleader, right? So I saw this as an opportunity to confront the issue, because no matter whether you got a head wrap, no matter whether you think you namaste all that, and you still think we got to hit kids, that's a problem. So I wrote Beating Black Kids as antithesis to that. No, we're not doing that. We are not beating Black kids anymore. So the book remedies and gives solutions for better things to do when you're rearing children than to hit them. And that is what that book is about. So it is still going. I've sold it globally. It is sold all over Tasmania, Ghana, Sudan, all over, please, Germany, all over the States. So still going strong. And I've given a lot of copies away for free on the streets. If I see a mama yelling at a kid and I got that book on me, I go right over there and say, hey, mama, what's up? Kind of divert her attention. And I say, I wrote a book for us parents that really helps us. If I gave it to you, would you read it? And they go, sure. And then I got her attention off of them. Now I'm signing it. Now we taking pictures and all that. So, yep. I've had literally one of my favorite stories. I was going into my building one day and a guy says to me, he's in a UPS truck. Excuse me, did you write that book, Beating Black Kids? And I said, yeah, I did. And he said, I'm a better father because of you. You gave me that book. And because of it, I never hit my daughter. I was like, whoa, that's like that's major work. So that's why we do it. That's why we're doing the book. So yeah, that was my first book.
Okay. And Bitcoin for Black people.
So I'm unapologetically for Black people. If you don't know, now you know. Stop playing games. It ain't got nothing to do. Being for Black people don't have to mean you are against anybody. So I just want to say that, get that out in the air. So Bitcoin for Black people is really, I'm big into cryptocurrency. People call me the crypto queen. This is one sister said, you like the Harriet Tubman of crypto. Heck yeah, you got that right. Let me emancipate people from this. So the book is really, though, about how wealth is not a stranger to Black people. You could look at our past. King Mansa Musa was the richest man in the world, even till today, period. African man, boom. And oil, we owned oil, Black Wall Street, like all of these things. There were Black millionaires in Chicago when the Great Depression was around. So the book is about how we're not strangers to wealth, number one, but even bigger than that, guess what? If you're going to get wealth in today's age, you're going to have to do it in crypto. That's the other money. They don't even print cash anymore. They stopped printing fiat money or cash that we're used to. They stopped printing that in America 2 years ago. So no. Cryptocurrency is the way of the now, the way of the future. If you're not going to have any, you're going to be very sad in the future. But I do workshops, I do webinars every other day, teaching people the basics of cryptocurrency so that they can go ahead and adjust themselves and learn the skills they need to learn as we are entering into the digital money age.
Okay. And last, but certainly not least, I chose to live.
That ain't what it say, but I'm gonna tell you what it say. I'm gonna tell you what it say. It's okay. It's too far, but it's called. I had to choose to feel better. Is what it's called. She said I had to choose to live. No, for real. So my book is called. My latest book is called. I had to choose. No, it's okay. I had to, because you got it far away anyway. But it's called I Had to Choose to Feel Better. And I wrote that because I had a stroke last week. We're not having no more strokes, okay? We're going to stop using strokes as excuses to write books, okay? So anyway, I wrote this book because I wanted to chronicle my healing process. And so I wrote a book that not only looks at, well, what was the mind and body and spirit of this process, especially the body part. I really go through what I've done diet-wise to change who I am so that I can even do this interview, because there was a point since I had the stroke in 2024, August of 2024, and there was a point where I could not do all this talking. It was too much for me. But I do eat a very nutrient-dense diet that now has helped repair my body, improve my blood sugar, improve my blood pressure. When I went in the hospital last year, they said I had my sugar was 500. It's supposed to be 125. So anyway, now when I wake up, it's like 125 or lower, or 98, whatever. So anyway, I had to choose to feel better is sort of a chronicling of the healing process, how you got to think, what you got to do if you want to heal in most of the different things that are out there. So, So anyway, I had to choose to feel better. So that's my final book. And I feel like doing the book fair and the Soulful Book Fair Foundation, why it's legit is because I'm an author. What? I know what authors need. I know what authors want. Like, I'm going to really be there to represent for us because I'm one of them. So I want to make sure that we're well taken care of. And that's what this is about in terms of the work that we do with the Soulful Book Fair Foundation and the Soulful Chicago Book Fairs.
Well, if somebody wanted to donate to your organization, how would they do that?
Oh, I got something for y'all right here. Stop playing with me. Look at this. Boom. Let me move this banner. Y'all better take a picture of this baby. Hercules. Look. That's all you got to do. You can either go ahead and send a donation right to this QR code. That's one thing that you can do. But there are some other things that you can do if you feel like you want to do Cash App or something like that, you can do that, and I'll put that up because I think it is important, and people do want to donate. We love donations. We need them. Book fairs are very important, are very, I should say not just important, but they're very expensive to do. And so we do have a Cash App handle as well. I'll put that up, and here we go. Asadah Thrives. Yay. So if you want to got some extra change in your Cash App, go ahead, $sign Asadah Thrives. Go ahead on, and that'll help you, Or you could just go to our website, Soulful Book Fair, Soulful Chicago Book Fair, and they have a donate button there as well.
Which I will run that.
Oh, what, the book fair?
I will run that again at the bottom of the screen. Okay. And so you do have a book fair coming up, the Black History Book Fair. What should we expect with that? Is there anything different about the Black History Book Fair as opposed to the annual one that you do?
Do you mind if I show the little Black History Book Fair? Because I do say it there. Can I just show that quick clip on the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair? It's only like a minute.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Let's do it.
Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair.
Hey family, this is Charles Humphrey of MCH Publishing, and I'm here with Asadah, and we at the Soulful Chicago Book what?
This is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, slamming.
We getting down in Hyde Park. Just run it down, my sister. Just tell us, for the people, a little bit about what we're doing here today and why.
This is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, and this month is very important. I feel like we don't give it the type of recognition that it needs, but beyond that, I do all things literary, and we have so many ancestors that have taken a tradition of writing and done great things. Well, we have those of us that are carrying on that tradition, and nobody knows about them until now. So the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair is allowing us to tell our stories according to ourselves for our own benefit. And it's just beautiful. I mean, she could have been here today if you wasn't here, but if you were, it's been amazing. People came in consistently, children, and we have children's authors, we have nonfiction authors, we have fiction authors. This is really good. And it's about taking our own power in our own hands and doing what we do on the literary tip, though.
Right.
I got to work, but I can't help it.
There you have it. I think that kind of sums it up.
And Asadah's always dancing.
I know, right? There it is.
So here's the flyer, guys. I want to see all my newbies there. I want to see you there. And do you still need vendors? What are the other ways that people can get involved? Volunteers, vendors?
Yeah, I mean, if you just go to the website, soulfulchicagobookfair.com, and if you want to leave a message, you can in the contact, tell I'd like to be a volunteer. I think the biggest thing really is the donating to the book fair is really big right now because we're preparing for all of the things and paying for the location. This one is going to be at Little Black Pearl right on 47th Street. And we're about Black history, but we're about to create Black future. Let's get that clear. Black future to the core.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So we have come to the end of our podcast. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to hear a final word from the Female Solution. And Asadah, it was a pleasure.
Thank you,
pleasure
babe.
Interviewing you today. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much.
I hope that others are as inspired.
You got it. Peace. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, zhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.